Open up your eyes, take a look at me. Get the picture fixed in your memory. I'm driven by the rhythm like the beat of a heart, and I won't stop until I start to stand out.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the happiest podcast on earth. That is right, we are the LorcanaCast, and we are here to talk all about Lorcana, the Disney trading card game that is coming really, really soon. It is really exciting. We are starting to get more information, more cards, closer to spring rules revealed. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. So we have the whole team here. We've got Chris, we've got Jason, we've got Skeff. How is everybody doing?
Doing good, buddy. How about you?
Yay.
Awesome.
We're doing great. It is a good time. So we're going to talk about a couple cards. And then we got a huge article coming from GamesRadar.com about pricing. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about, because we've got officially announced price points for the theme decks, the treasure trove, the starter deck, the booster packs, the whole shebang. And it's a very interesting conversation across the team, because everyone's opinions are valid. And everyone has a very unique and distinct thought. So I'm really excited to get into that. But let's start off with some cards that were revealed. We've got Captain Gantu. So I think, Chris, you were wanting to talk a little bit about this big quote-unquote doo-doo head, as Stitch once called him.
Yeah, so it's a steel color character, 8 cost, 6. I don't know if we don't know the terms yet, but 6 strength, 6 defense. The ability says, under arrest, characters with cost 2 or less can't challenge your characters. And my favorite part is always the flavor text. Relax, enjoy the trip, and don't get any ideas. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the character much. I think I've seen Lilo and Stitch. I know I'm like a bad Disney person because I'm not into all the movies. But as far as the abilities go,
we're going to have a movie marathon before Gen Con.
Right. Oh, it also has 2 pips as well. He has 2 pips. So he's Storyborn, Alien, and Captain. The Captain could be kind of cool if there's a trigger, like for all your captains in your deck.
Yeah, him and Captain Hook.
There you go. We got 2 captains already.
Man, it'll be great
Captain
if they have
deck.
Captain Hook's hook. So you can give Captain Gantu Captain Hook's hook.
Hook, and then wow, that's a lot. Okay, the abilities obviously the big thing here, which we're paying the 8-4. I mean, 6/6 body is pretty good, obviously. But the ability, characters will cost 2 or less can't challenge your characters. Again, it's a type of lockdown deck, type of control deck he'll be playing into. So, I think he'll be something you build around, obviously, with other tools to try to protect your own characters, lock the other character down so they can't do as much as they want to do. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it opens up, it tells us a little bit about where they're going with deck types and what you're going to be able to do. And to me, that's exciting. That's why. I was a little bit excited about seeing the card.
There's clearly going to be weenie spam if this card exists, which means
Sure.
I'm willing to bet red, and I cannot think of what other color might have weenie. It could be steel.
Could be steel, yeah.
Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But the inference of needing a card that turns off cost 2 or less characters is really interesting, because the Stitch in yellow has the ability where every time you play a character with cost 2 or less, you can exert it to draw a card. So initially we thought, oh, hey, there might be like a White Weenies draw engine. Where you play all these characters that cost 1 or 2, and you can like draw through your deck. And seeing Gantu is like, oh, maybe there's a White Weenies aggro where it's just a bunch of these little low to the ground 1-2 cost cards that probably have challenger like Captain Hook, which would also lead to a question we had amongst the team. How many copies of a card do we think? Because by golly, if you can run, 4 copies of Captain Hook, you just drop all of these little weenies and then you give them rush somehow. Oh, like, good Lord, that is scary, because you're staring down, these beaters that have 3 attack, and it's like, and then Gantu says, no, man, you can't do any of that stuff. You're just going to sit down there. You're under arrest. So I think it's flavorful, but it also hints at deck archetypes, which I think is interesting.
I mean, outside of the fact that as the resident aggro player of this group, I feel targeted, but, I still love the big shark boy. So
Feel the target, sir. Hope you feel it burning.
I need them to show a mill card. I need to mill people.
No,
please.
They can't. This can't exist. There's going to be no mill card in the first set.
Really?
I
Why
don't
you
think
do
so.
that?
Set,
Why?
maybe set two, Siggy.
I mean, the worst thing that happens for you is that mill doesn't matter, right? What if the rule of the game is like once you run out of your deck, you reshuffle your
All
discard
right,
pile?
time to go
That'd
get my
be insane.
Yu-Gi-Oh Sharpie and just write abilities on cards that I want.
You just got to win World. You just got to win the World Tournament and create a
Yeah.
card.
Card.
And then just,
No,
just
Captain
break-
Gantu is misprinted. It really says your opponent mills 5 cards from the top of their deck every time he attacks. Here we go.
You should when you meet the creator, let them know like, hey, that was a typo, right? That was a mistake. I
Yeah,
want you to let
the
you
guy,
know that.
guys, that Gantu card sucks. No milling abilities. What's up with that? I need you to fix your mistake here.
I also love the art. Again, I think the art of this game is pretty sweet. So the art looks great. It looks just like you expect him to look. Very high
And that's
quality
just cool.
art.
And like it pays tribute to what they said, right? They said like every card is going to be like new art. So I think it's just a new way for them to interpret these characters that we've known for so long now.
I'll be straight up honest. If these foil cards that they've been talking about are full arts, I think Gantu is a pretty darn cool full art. Like he's kind of like the Hulk. He's this very large, encapsulating character. And like if you get rid of all of the text and abilities and it's just like him on the card, I think that'd be sweet. Like I would play a playmat with him. I like that art a lot. All right, so moving along, we have another card. So the GamesRadar article has a bunch of pricing information and an exclusive new card. And Skeff, I think you're pretty excited about this card just because it's got an ability that you're very interested in.
Yeah. So like the whole concept for me, like we've all played our fair share of TCGs, and at the end of the day, I feel like every TCG you play has some sort of engine or something that like keeps the game flowing, right? And so for me, I played mostly Pokemon. So for Pokemon, the concept of that game was like, all right, what Pokemon ability, power, body gets you more cards? Like what is a draw engine to keep you, getting more cards, to get more characters, things like that. So when we saw it was the watch, right? The whose watch? The Rabbit's watch. And I saw that had the draw ability, but I'm like, that's way too expensive. Like you're gonna pay 4 to draw 1, and I'm just like, that seems unplayable. And so when they came out with Tink, and I'm like, a 3-drop, you tap, you draw, and then discard. I'm like, that yeah, I want to play a lot of those. That seems really good just to tap and draw, especially for a 3-drop. But for me, I'm just like, no, obviously there's only 2 cards that we have seen that had the tap and draw mechanic. So will there be more? That'll be interesting to find out. But for me, as of right now, that watch seemed unplayable, but this seemed like I want to play 4 of these in a deck. But I'm just kind of curious your guys' thoughts. But for me, as like an old Pokemon player, like anything to just get me more cards in hand, especially for only a 3-drop, that just seems like a win, especially with a 2/4 defense. That 4 defense is like another thing that I'm just like, oh, this is nice little girthy draw card.
You mean the mirror, right?
He does.
stopwatch
He
mirror.
does.
The mirror.
He does,
the
yeah.
mirror.
Oh,
the
okay.
mirror. I apologize.
Mirror
Yeah.
on the wall. Can Skeff read these cards at all?
No, I can't. I'm just a big dumb caveman, everybody. So
Are you
He's a
sure you're not a
Yu-Gi-Oh player,
Yu-Gi-Oh
too.
player? Yeah, I was gonna say I thought you were a Pokemon player. Those people can read.
those people can read. This is very true. I'm just used to like the pictures and just things like
Welcome
that.
to
That's just- yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Welcome
Right.
to the family. Join us.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of the card, real quick, I mean, you pretty much summed up all my thoughts. I mean, you guys know when we read that Magic Mirror, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play this. This is too expensive. So Tink, especially with her, she is an ally, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if we covered that or not, but this is the kind of draw that I'm looking for, especially for a set 1 card. So
But would you play her over the wardrobe?
yeah, because I like Tinkerbell better over the wardrobe.
But it is a wardrobe. You can store your cloaks in it, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that's true. Isn't the wardrobe like 3/4 or like 3/5? No, that's a jump.
It's just a 3/4.
That's jump.
It's a 3/4
Yeah.
drop.
Noticing these 3-drops have big booties. Like they're tough on the defensive side. I do agree. I think that was a good call, Jason. This is the first ally card we've seen with a printed ability. So far, all the other allies have been
Mm-hmm.
vanilla
That's true.
cards.
Yeah.
Olaf is pretty
Olaf,
straightforward, like nothing special. So it's a good hint. It's a good side that it's not going to be allies or super generic and quote unquote mainline characters have abilities. Like everyone has a chance to do something cool. So I think that's cool. I think it's very cool. So the big thing we want to talk about in this episode is GamesRadar got an exclusive, and I think it's super awesome that we finally have price points for the fundamentals of Lorcana. So we'll just jump right in. You've got starter decks that are $16.99 plus tax in the US. Booster packs are $5.99 plus tax in the US. The treasure trove, the Lumineers treasure trove, is $49.99 plus tax. And then we also have the first chapter gift set. This is the one with the supersized Mulan and Hades at $29.99 plus tax. So you can start to do the math, give or take. And we know that a booster box is 24 packs.
24, yep.
So 24
I was
times $5.99. I believe it's $144 for a booster box. Give or take.
That seems,
Yeah,
seems
roughly,
to be going right.
yeah.
With this information, what do you guys think? So I want to clarify a couple things right up front. A starter deck is the starter deck plus a booster pack. So mathematically, if you looked at, say, Pokemon or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh!, starter decks range from about $10 to $12. So $16.99, basically you can rip $6.99 off for the booster pack. So the starter decks are about $10 plus the booster pack. So I think that's equivocable. The quote-unquote fat pack, so the Illumineer's Trove is $50, which comes with the full art storage box, 2 full art deck boxes, which we saw online are side loaders, and Disney Lorcana has confirmed that they can hold sleeved decks, which I think that's important. You get 8 booster packs, so 8 times 6, do the math. 15 damage counters, and then the classic 50-page full art thing that has all the cards and checklist and so on and so forth. So that's your quote-unquote ETB fat pack, whatever you want to call it. And then your starter set, the first chapter gift set, comes with 4 booster packs, so again, 4 times 6, 24. 2 lore tracker tokens, which is interesting because the Illumineer's Trove comes with damage counters, not tracker tokens. Take that as you may. And then 32 damage counters. And then the 2 oversized cards. So thoughts on the pricing? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you ambivalent? Do you like Chinese food? Where is the white rabbit?
I want to say that I think it's too early to tell, what this really means. I think generally the game probably is going to be more expensive than a normal TCG, right? And I just think we need to see more about the rules, more about the deck building, that type of stuff before we start going too far out. There's 2 more cards per pack. We know that than a normal TCG, right? So that's something.
Well, Magic is 15. This is 12.
Well, okay. Fab is, I can't remember what Fab is. I think Fab is less.
Pokemon's only 11.
Pokemon's 11.
Code card.
Dragon Ball and One Piece are 12.
Dragon Ball One Piece are 12. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Is this 12? Is Lorcana 12?
9.
Yes.
Lorcana, yeah.
12, Lorcana is 12. It's 12.
Okay. All right.
Well,
So other than Magic, it's pretty standard.
so again, I think people are, freaking out a little bit. We don't know the rules of the game. We don't know, how anything about the game really. So the fact that they're bumping up the price more than a normal cost of a TCG doesn't mean much to me at this point. I got to see do I need a full collection of the cards? Do I just want to buy a starter set and supplement that with singles? That kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm not too upset about it. If it's a fun game, if it's a high quality game, then that's what I play these games for. I'll spend the money if it's worth it, right? It has to be worth it for me to spend the money. So that's where I am at with the price announcement.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go ahead and chime in. So I did some research for comparison. So going off my game of choice here, which is Dragon Ball Super, as you, in case you guys didn't know. So the current pricing for a pack of Dragon Ball Super, which we just established has 12 cards in it per pack, like Lorcana will, is $4.19. So obviously $5.99 is a little bit more expensive. With the higher price pack for Lorcana, the boxes are going to be significantly more expensive than depending on where you get it, say $80 to $90 box for Dragon Ball. That's where I'm, I guess, more curious about is the quality of the pulls for Lorcana boxes. We'll get into that into a minute. For starters, they're priced roughly about the same. Dragon Ball starters are $15.99, so $1 more. Not that big a deal. Plus, like Sugi mentioned, you get the additional booster pack. So really, you're plussing more if you want to, from a value standpoint, if you want to look at it that way. We've talked briefly before about pricing with that, or when we speculated pricing a while back. But the gift set in the Trove seems, pretty standard in terms of pricing. I think we all kind of probably agree the Trove is a one of if you're interested. The gift set is probably, if you're going to spend the money, where outside of the starters and boxes, like where that's at. Obviously, being a fan, former CM, I'm used in just lifelong, Disney enthusiast. I'm used to paying the quote unquote Disney tax, and I kind of feel like that's what this is. I being at $5.99. If I know we've also talked before about how other card games are potentially going to raise the price again on their booster pack, so maybe it won't be that big of a deal. But as Chris said, we got to wait. Still, spring is almost around the corner. Looking at you, Ryan and Steve, for the gameplay announcement. But hopefully, I'm not overly concerned, but I do think there is the possibility of pricing out people this is their first my little TCG.
It's fascinating to kind of get the confirmation of the prices, right, guys? We were all speculating, where we were like, it's going to be expensive, but more expensive than most, right? And I'm like, all right. And then my concept was like, it's got to be at least minimum $5 a pack. And I'm like, all right, if it was $5.50, I wouldn't be surprised. But now we know it's $6. At the end of the day, it is what it is, right? So if we're going to play, the cost of entry is going to be the price point that we have there. Now, hopefully, if you have some like local game shops, maybe you can talk to them. Maybe if you pre-order product, that will maybe they'll give you a discount. I know a couple shops in my town said, like, if you order some pre-order stuff, we'll knock the price down a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. So there are ways to get around that, but the packs being $6, the gift box being the 30, and then the 50. I mean, I think that other than like just an individual booster pack, everything else is priced, accordingly, as Sugi pointed out, where like the $48 for the trove, plus you get the side boxes and all the tokens, and then the gift box where you get the other oversized cards and the foil cards and like probably acrylic trackers, because you get a tracker token in the starter deck. So you get the tracker token in starter deck, but it's probably cardboard, so you probably get a nicer quality one or a character theme one in that gift set. But it's going to be it's the cost of the entry of the game. So it'll be interesting to see what it turns out. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rules, right? Like, if the rules get me more excited, phenomenal. But, it is what it is. And just kind of mentally prepared where, all right, if you're in at $5, then you're probably in at $6. If the dollar breaks you, then it'll be interesting to see what the demand is for the product right out of the gate.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. Like, the price is going to be what it is, and people are going to pay it. We're going to pay it. There's not really a question about that. It's
true.
More or less, do we like the price point? And, there's inflation and all kinds of other stuff. I don't personally mind $6 a pack, because a lot of people may or may not know that Pokemon's going to increase the price of their booster packs to $5.50, I believe.
It was definitely above $5, but it was under that $6 for the new rotation coming out, I think, this summer.
Yeah. So like Lorcana will be the most expensive booster pack on the market. Not by much, but still, I don't know if you want that title of, we're the most expensive trading card game. We're also the newest trading card game. Magic is whatever Magic is. Like, Magic fluctuates. Yu-Gi-Oh, all the booster packs are going up, but they're not hitting $6. Again, if a dollar breaks you, might not be the right hobby. My biggest concern isn't actually the price of the booster pack, but it's what we call EV, or estimated value of a booster pack, because a $6 booster pack means inherently someone spending the money on that booster pack is going to want cards that are equatable or more valuable than what they paid into. So on average, with Magic and the $4 booster pack, most rares, most cards on average are between like the $1 to $3 range. So if you open a booster pack and you get a dud rare, you feel, mathematically like, okay, maybe you quote unquote wasted $1 to $3. Not the end of the world. I can totally handle that. However, if the EV of Lorcana is similar to the average trading card game, where most rares and cards that aren't hyper valuable are basically $1 to $2, that hurts a little bit more if I spend $6 and now I'm out $4 to $5. Again, I have money and I have expendable income, but I would rather have that feel bad moment with Magic where I could probably pull something more valuable, or the dud rare doesn't feel so bad, because now it feels like I'm just throwing money away and getting literally nothing. So makes an interesting scenario where now the cost of Lorcana cards need to feel better, which means they should be more expensive, which then makes the singles market really expensive, which makes decks more expensive. So now Lorcana becomes more pricey to get into. And the whole nuts and bolts of what I'm saying is I was hoping Lorcana would be a fairly approachable game so that people of all ages, all across the world, everyone has a chance to play. And I just hope that these price points don't price people out, because in order for Lorcana to survive long term, there needs to be a big group of people playing it up front, and there needs to be a lot of growth over time. And if people buy a booster box of Lorcana and spend $144, and they come to find out that if they sold everything to a store and the store paid maximum value, they could only make $80, that feels really bad that your collection isn't even worth what you paid for. So that's kind of what makes me intrigued as to, hopefully the cards are worth something, but it's not going to be like Digimon where the most expensive cards are like $300-$400. And if you don't have those cards, you can't win tournaments. And that's also not fun, because now the game is just obscenely expensive for no reason.
That's an interesting point to bring across. Like the EV is something I think people think about too much. At least, I mean, maybe not a common concept, but it's something I also think about as well, where you have a booster box of 24 packs. So you open all of them, you're looking at 288 total cards. And then, ballpark depending on what you get between rare, super rare, and legendary, there's going to be 24 rares total pulled. So I think that also is an important thing to know, that the value is there, but that'll come down to like the singles market, like what's in demand, how sought after, and how rare are those legendary cards going to be. And I think that'll be interesting to find out whether they're going to be playable or not. But the breakdown of
do you
opening
like buying a $6 booster pack knowing your EV is like 50 cents to $1?
I never buy individual packs. I'm never like, that's for me, I don't ever buy a pack. I'm either buying a box or like give me a starter deck. Like I've never sat down like, let me get one pack of a product. Like I don't.
Yeah, but your EV affects your booster box too.
This is true. Yes, this is true. I guess I put it in the odds of getting value back is greater because you're opening up more product in a booster box than you are in like an individual pack.
Sure, but I'm sure with Pokemon you avoided certain sets when you knew, like remember Roaring Skies, the EV of a booster box was like $700 and a booster box was $1. But then like the next two sets, the EV of a booster box was like $50 and you're still paying $100 and nobody bought those boxes.
Correct. Like, you're right. Like so for me, that's like Silver Tempest. Like Silver Tempest only had the Lugia. Yes. Right. Silver Tempest only had the Lugia to pull. So like that's why booster boxes of Silver Tempest are still somewhat basically still MSRP for the most part. So yeah, you're right.
The expected value is going to be determined by a lot of things, right? And not to take anything away from Sugi, I think you bring up valid points, but the expected value or EV is going to be determined by, what the singles are going to be selling for, right?
Correct.
The number of chase cards that are in each pack and the distribution of them, right?
Yep.
So many of these things we don't know about anyway at this point. And I would just venture to say that, the fact that we have to pay more for a single pack doesn't necessarily mean that the EV is going to be off, right? The market has to adjust itself for the fact that I paid $6 for this pack, or I paid $144 for this booster box. So that's going to go into the concept of what the singles are going to be worth to establish that expected value. And on top of that, and I think this is again, this is not to take away from anybody in this group. I think generally, if you're playing these types of games, if you're playing collectible card games, this is a hobby. Like many other hobbies, that's very expensive. It's a hobby that you should be doing with your disposable income. It shouldn't be, while there is people that do it to make money, to do it to resell things of that nature to help fund their hobbies. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe this is a game you could do that in easily. Maybe it's a game you could do this in hard. We don't know enough to know, what that's going to look like at this point. About it's going to be easy to make your money back buying boxes, or it's going to be hard to make your money back buying boxes. But the general premise of where I come from with these games is, I set aside X amount of money to do my hobby, right? And then that's going to determine how much of the box I can get to play with, and how much I'm going to get to collect if I want to do that. And that's what I do, right? Because this is a game that I want to play with my daughter, play with my family, play with my friends. So again, I'm not trying to take it away from anybody else, because I know people approach things differently. But to me, the fact that we learned that these packs are going to be more expensive within themselves doesn't mean anything. Again, I needed if I'm going to buy a box for $144, I have to put in context what that $144 means to me, and the amount of enjoyment I believe that this game's going to bring to me, right? Are those things on par with each other? Because if they're not, then it could be a $50 box, but if I don't like the game, if the game's no fun, if the game's really weak, then I would be upset anyways, right? It's not.
What if the cards are super cool looking?
Well, that's just how I consider it, right? I mean, they're playing games out there right now. They could be cheaper, but like I don't like the game systems. I don't have nobody to play with, so like it doesn't matter to a certain extent. The concept of pricing somebody out is inherently that they don't have, you don't have the funds enabled to even get a baseline of playing the game. And that's already avoided, in my opinion, because you could buy a $10 start, whatever, I can't remember the starter decks. You could play the game. You may not be able to get all the bells and whistles. You may not be able to play the specific deck you want to play. But we already know there are reasonably priced starter decks. They're reasonably priced product in the game. So I think we're already past that, right? It's just a question of what you need to be, if you want to be a competitive player versus a non-competitive player, if you want to be a collector versus a non-collector, if you want to buy a box and make your money back, sell it to a store, all those things are yet to be determined.
Okay. I mean, I think the thing though, going off what you're saying, and especially what Sugi's saying, is I'm kind of sharing those same like concerns as him, because, it doesn't matter who said it. I think Ryan said it, maybe Steve said it, doesn't matter, but they did flat out say like this was going to be like a family friendly, like approachable game. And so again, if we're looking at this from the frame of, as we always say, my first little TCG, and you have people who aren't used to this, like the four of us are, I do think like they're going to get sticker shock, like when they do see that, and especially with how quickly they want to push out sets and do 4 a year. I think initially I did say I don't think 4 sets a year is an issue, because I deal with that with DBS. So I'm used to Bandai's model. However, I also have over 20 plus years experience playing card games, right? So like I'm used to all this, just like all three of you are. But I am concerned that just because Mickey Mouse and Elsa are on the pack isn't going to hold this game long term. Like I'm actually like afraid like Lorcana is going to price themselves out, and then we're only going to get 3 sets at most.
I want to say that. I mean, I understand the concerns. I hear that we're hearing that a lot at this point. I'd be interested to hear back a year from now with this podcast and where we are and what's happened in the year, because none of this matters if the game is bad, right?
Oh boy,
none of this.
You're right.
None of this matters
right.
much if the game's really good, because if the game's really good, we're going to be paying what we want to pay to play the game, right? So it's kind of like
exactly.
It's kind of this question of what does that mean? It doesn't mean too much right now, because we don't know what the quality of this game is.
Yeah.
Well, if they would go ahead and tell us, like I keep yelling at them too.
Spring yet, mate. Spring is in like 9 days.
2 days, like 2 or 3 days.
26th.
Lassie, close your eyes.
Is it 26th or 21st, right? For the first day of spring?
I don't know.
26th, I think, of March.
Okay.
All right, so like a week.
They're not going to tell us. They're not going to tell us by then.
I know they're not, but I'm going to keep saying it until they do. So
you got a week, mate. You got a week. But I mean, Chris is right. At the end of the day, guys, we're having this conversation. Everything at the end of the day, people that are listening at home are like, truly, it's all speculation. Now, have some things come true? They have. Have some things been absolutely wrong? Those have also been correct. But it's understanding that if the game is good, we will play the game. The price point at that point, as Chris points out, is null, because we're like, hey, we want to play. This is great. All right, here is our dollars. Here are our Mickey bucks. Give me my Elsa pack.
Mickey bucks.
If you compare it to like a magic
those
pack,
are long gone.
Dude,
they're
that gives me
they're
the
gonna bring them back.
cringe.
They're gonna bring them back for Lorcana
I hate when people are like,
events.
"Can I pay for this with Mickey bucks?"
Right?
Look,
they're gonna
man,
bring
do
back
you have
Mickey bucks
real
for the-
money? First of all,
you
they're
just-
called Disney dollars, sir.
Yeah, they're called
We
Disney
don't accept
dollars.
imperial
Yeah,
credits.
Imperial credits are no good here.
We only accept calamari flan.
Oh
Wars
my
friends out there.
gosh. Oh, okay, Mister. This
So-
is the way, man.
Hey, I've spoken.
Can you
So-
eat calamari flan? They look tasty.
They look like they look like a mochi. No,
They
look
do.
Like, they kind of look
Like
that
blue
little-
glowing. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I
getting
like
off,
mochi.
off track here.
Yeah, we're talking about food. We're hungry.
Anyways, go ahead,
But
Chris.
I forget. I don't know what I
Okay.
was gonna say.
Oh, well, I do
distracted
have something to
Chris too
say. I
much.
want to go back to something Chris said many episodes ago. We
Uh-oh.
could see a game where there are limited amounts of cards, like limited copies,
Right.
and like there's so many things that are being said. Like, so what Jason had a great point. Steve or Ryan, somebody on the team said this is supposed to be a very approachable, like they didn't say affordable, but they said approachable
Right.
family,
I'll give- I'll
family
say
card game.
But
Whoa.
they did say they did say approachable though.
Yeah, they said approachable.
Yes,
So-
they did not say affordable.
Yeah, they
No,
never said the word affordable.
Disney will
Like, we don't
never.
break
That's
the
like a
bank.
sin. You don't say affordable
Right,
at Disney. No.
Yeah,
But-
you
can't
but-
say cheap.
Yeah.
You say
Something that's
cost-efficient.
interesting is the way they've marketed, the way they've said it is they are seeming to make the game available so more people can play it, not less people can play it. The price point leaves a confusion button because it's like, well, that's not in the approachable or affordable zone compared to your competitors. So then the flip side of that makes me wonder if you don't have to have as many copies of a card as your traditional trading card game. So Yu-Gi-Oh, you get 3, Magic and Pokemon, you get 4. DBS is 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, DBS is 4. One Piece is
Fab's
4.
3.
Generally, Fab is 3. So the industry standard is 3 to 4. So I could see booster packs being more expensive, but you only need 2 copies of a card. So that means your collection isn't going to be insanely pricey. So like that is a possibility because again, we're speculating. We don't know the rules. We don't know what a playset looks like. We don't know very much of
But-
anything.
But I guess it's safe to assume that the decks are going to be 60 cards, right?
What?
Decks will be 60 cards. We know that. So that's
And
helpful.
Oh, because of
And
the
it'll probably-
pre-mates.
Yeah, well,
Well, they also
'cause-
told us. They said they're 60.
Oh, okay.
well, yeah, because like there'll be no like side deck. It'll just be a 60 card deck.
Yeah.
and then you'll just play with that. So like the ink will be into the deck. Sounds like.
I still
Why
don't
do
know.
why do you
if,
think that? Yeah,
Because-
I don't know if
of-
mana's in the deck.
I think
Yes.
they're included. Yeah.
Because
I don't want to
otherwise-
rehash that conversation again.
I know, but it's fun though because the side loaders got released, right? So the side loaders got released, knowing that you could fit
They
60
did.
sleep
They
cards
did.
inside of the deck, right? So you're like, oh well, you would only want to carry one deck with you. Like they would have made 85. You know what I mean? Like it's just that concept of just
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
the tournament like that. Also, the tracker is fascinating too, where it just I think so in essence you just be keeping score of how many victory points you get with your ink dots. I mean, just like little information like that.
So I mean, again, we're just kind of shooting in the dark, but I don't hate the idea of $6 booster packs if you only need 2 copies of a card, because then I don't have to have 4 copies of a card.
But then you'll need twice as many two cards though.
Well,
Still
but
running.
I mean, like if you need a full play set, it kind of it plays around.
It's kind of like the same problem.
But-
You'll need to fill.
But
the
here's the
deck
thing:
regardless.
if you only need 2 copies of a card, then you probably don't need as many copies of like a legendary. So in theory, your price of your deck still comes down, because if you need 4 copies of, say, Brave
The
Little
Dragon
Tailor,
Fire.
Mickey Mouse, or
Yeah.
like some of those ultra rares, whatever you want to call them,
Correct.
the legendary rares. Instead of needing 4 of that, you need 2 of that, and then you'll get 2 Tinkerbells and 2 Simbas and 2 Gantus and 2 Captain Hooks and so on and so forth. Like you technically need more cards, but you don't need more higher rarity. So that should push the cost of the deck overall down. We're guessing, but I mean, like by rarity, it should work on paper theoretically, kind of, sort of.
I mean, but then we're going to get into the conversation of pull rates again, and we don't know what that's
Yeah.
going to be either.
Yeah.
Well, I
yeah,
hope
true.
with the booster box you get some sort of, especially at $6 a pack, at 24 pack.
box topper.
I hope there's.
Oh, I hope
box topper
so.
would be cool.
I hope so eventually.
If they brought that back, that'd be awesome. I know not many games do that anymore, but I hope there's like a guarantee of like you're gonna pull a combination of 4 like legendaries or super rares, or you know what I mean, or whatever the the rarity is. I just hope that's like something that's like in the box, because like at that price point, you're like, all right, well, it'd be nice to know that like, all right, I'm not gonna just pull nothing but regular rares in my booster box. That would suck. That would be terrible EV, as Sugi pointed out.
Another question for the table: what do you think about Set 2 coming out in November?
Technically, it is 3 months after the release date.
It sounds
of August.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It sounds right.
It's fun.
And they got to get him before the holiday season, right? Make that holiday money.
That
What do you want
they
for
do.
Christmas, Johnny? I want Mickey back.
Gift set number 2 and all that other stuff. So
Yeah, so it's November 17th for specialty hobby stores and December 1st for mass market, so big box stores, Target, Walmart. So, I mean, by the end of this year, we're going to have 2 sets. That's a lot. That's pretty quick, in my opinion.
We'll definitely know if we like the game or not. That's for
we'll
sure.
definitely
We'll know. Because like that's the thing, right? Like I remember from Destiny when like it was like the third set. It was like a third or fourth set when Destiny came out, and I'm like, I think this game's over, guys. It's over. But
Yes.
for here,
that wasn't the reason why we thought it was over.
no, that is not. But that definitely solidified. That was the nail in
force
the
speed.
coffin,
When we saw force speed, we knew the game was broken.
that's true. I definitely remember.
That card ruined the game.
It did. It really did. But I think that's the thing, right? Like, you know how like the first set you just like, oh, this is great. For me and you guys with your expertise, years of gaming experience, the ramp of your set to set, it's gotta be like a slow. Like you can't make the first set cards unplayable when you release set 2.
Right.
So I'm kind of excited it's so close, so they can like, hey, we're gonna keep you guys on your toes. Are you making good cards? Are you making stuff that makes set 1 unplayable? And then that significantly drops the value of set 1. You know what I mean? They want to keep their cards valuable. So
I like that we'll know about the power creep that fast. I think to your point, I think that's what you're getting at a little bit, is that we can see the second set and see what they're increasing and see how fast they're moving to, so power creep.
Calling it out. Set 2 is going to be the big bad wolf.
Is a game going to be sustainable?
Jesus, here we go again.
4 sets a year, right? I think that tells a lot. So I'm kind of excited for them to have the first 2 sets. It would also tell us if they have the game, if they have the game planned out, right? Like I think we'll be able to tell a lot from those first 2 sets if they've actually like looked at the game and we're getting new abilities, we're getting abilities that work off set 1, that kind of stuff. So I'm excited.
I'm interested. Having set 2 come so close for me makes me not want to buy as much set 1 because I don't want to drop a lot of money on set 1 and then set 2 comes out and some of those cards just drop off.
That's right. But that's the thing, right? That's very plausible. Or it makes set 1 more valuable because then you realize, set 2 doesn't have as many good cards. I need more set 1.
Traditionally, it doesn't do that.
It doesn't, yeah.
Except for Pokemon.
Most trading card games, set 2 is where the money. Set 2 and set 3 are where a lot of money cards come from because set 1 is kind of establishing itself. Like you have your staples, and then set 2 and set 3, it's like, dear God, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like one of the best cards I can think of is Graceful Charity. Came out of set 3, Magic Ruler. It was either Magic. It was either set 1. It was either set 2 or set 3. Because like one of the best draw cards, Pot of Greed, is in the first set. Legend of Blue Eyes.
Yes, it is.
Great card.
What does it do?
It draws 2 cards.
You win the game. Oh, well, you can put it in attack mode to draw 3 cards from your deck, and then you can set it in your trap and spell. Anyways, but yeah, you draw 2 cards. But some of the
Avarice of Greed
greatest cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! Staples are in set 2 and set 3. Like
Monster Reborn, which is still relevant.
Yeah, Graceful is from there. Solemn wasn't that was in set 2. I think. Anyways, if you look at most sets other than Magic and Pokemon, well, no, even in Pokemon, like Fossil had some great cards.
It depends on what era for Pokemon. With
that's true.
Wizards,
That's true.
Nintendo, like it because like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black and White, X and Y, those are some big base sets, or the first initial set for that. Block, sort of say. But at the end of the day, having set 2 being released, like I have a feeling that whenever set 2 gets released, we'll know the entire set like sooner. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the want to get the information out there, and I think seeing the cards, knowing the cards, it'll be interesting to find out, and you'll be able to make a proper decision without having to worry about like making any last minute. I think you'll be able to get pre-orders and seeing the whole set. You're like, oh, it seems like a good set. I'll order this ahead of time.
I'm not
Lord, I
worried.
hope they do a faster preview season for set 2
Oh,
because
yeah,
this
they
is
will,
killing me
because-
with it.
well,
Like,
oh yes, because at the end of the day, like once the product's out there, they're like cool, and then they're gonna try to keep that hype train rolling. Right, the product's out there, it gets released, and then it's probably sometime. You know what I bet? Here's a news dropper that it could happen. It's like, what if there's like some sort of Gen Con, like, you know, session, or like, you know, how the like 1 hour like time block, maybe like some sort of like Gen Con. You remember how FFG used to do that, like the little Gen Con like preview thing,
Mhm.
like an hour? Maybe they're gonna have one of those, and they'll show off a set 2 card or like a couple cards from set 2.
Oh,
you know what
wow.
I mean?
That would be
Because
sick.
they're already all done, right? You know they're all done.
Yeah,
For set 2. So like,
But what if the Gen
having-
Con promo is a set 2 card?
No, that'd be a terrible idea, Sugi. You would have people get trampled, and that's a terror. Now, so I bet at the booth on like Saturday, they'll have maybe a glass display of the set 2 cards.
Yeah.
That would be smart.
Okay, I can see that, yeah.
That'd be really smart.
That's
Like
cool.
that's where I
That's
keep
smart.
thinking. Where I think like, hey, the big announcement is Gen Con. The big release is Gen Con. Here's all the information, and then here are little sprinkles of set 2 for you guys to get those, you know, palates a little salivating, and then maybe a month later, they'll start dropping more and more, and then the whole set will get released probably like a month and a half before.
I was gonna say a month later, you're a month away from release.
Exactly, right? So like that's the thing. Like we'll know information, like because we have to get pre-orders in. So I think the whole secret, like, because like once this first set's out, we know how the game works, right? So there's no point in really keeping set 2 secret, right?
Right. The only concern I have is some trading card games put too much product out too quickly, and it turns off their market. It turns off their user base.
I mean, Pokemon releases like 7 things a year.
Well, they release a bunch of things a year, but they only have the mainline sets.
This is true.
Like,
4 times.
They have 3, and then they have a special. They have 2 special sets a year.
Here,
right?
the earlier you like, again, this is a, you know, a new player friendly podcast. The earlier y'all learn, you cannot buy everything in these games. This is not a game. This is not a type of hobby where you collect.
I'm gonna buy
everything. You know, there are certain people that do that, but when they do that, they're spending
I'm gonna have a play
obscene
set
amounts
of
of money,
every single card,
and then they're taking an obscene amount of risk because they may not be able to. If the goal is to, I mean, if you try to collect a complete set for your own satisfaction of having a complete set of this game because you love the art, you love the game, you want to own that forever. You're not worried about any financial ability of that or value of that complete set. Then fine. You know, that's going to cost you a lot of money to do that, a lot of resources, probably a lot of time to get a complete set of any TCG. And then you have the market, as these things go, like it's like the stock market or anything else that's a speculative of a value of an item, gold or silver, whatever, you know, it's going to go up and down, right? And if the game is really bad and a set comes out that just ruins the game, then that complete set might go to a value of $0, right? So again, I just want to communicate to people that you can't really go into these games thinking you're going to own every card, you're going to play, you know, every deck that you could possibly play, right? I think that's a healthier way to approach these games, in my opinion.
How many calamari flan do you think it takes to buy a booster pack?
at least 2.
Oh, okay.
At least 2. Also, by the way, speaking of values of cards, I just wanted a quick little double check on eBay. I'll get us the real price. But a Lorcana Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor, the D23 Expo,
Yeah.
PSA 10 just sold for $4,000, best offer accepted. So give me
That's
like 1 minute
crazy.
to find out what the actual sold price was.
Well, fine. While he's looking at that, I want to bring up something that I talked about a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away when I did my first episode, because I've seen this come up, and Sugi, I think you know where I'm going with this. I've seen this come up on Discord and Twitter. With now that we have pricing, where do we now stand on these products for Lorcana? Will they be sold in the parks? Because I have seen people bring this up, and we talked about this months ago, but I'm curious to see now that we have pricing, since we mentioned Disney dollars, it got my brain thinking, is this but like I'm sure you've seen it online, Sugi. People have legitimately had this conversation. So like now that we know like pricing and stuff,
Yeah.
has your thoughts changed? Do you guys think the products will be sold?
We know the answer, actually.
Oh,
Do we? Okay.
Disney Lorcana said on Twitter it will be sold at the parks.
Oh,
Okay, now let me to expand. Is that physically in the parks themselves? Is that at like Disney Springs and downtown Disney? Is
They
that
gave us a winky
when they
face.
say God, they need to stop.
They're gonna make exclusive
no,
cards.
it's so annoying.
just for
It's
the
so
park.
annoying.
There's
It
gonna be
is
an
so
Elsa
annoying.
exclusive promo that you have to get in the Elsa ride, and then you
I hope
only
they
get
don't
the
go that
Lorcana promo
route,
there.
but-
and
I'll
they'll
do
be
it.
game-breaking.
I'll do it. I will do it.
Oh,
but I'm
man.
just saying, like,
So
it's so is it to Scott's point though, can I go, somewhere in, fine, Magic Kingdom, go to the Emporium and there's Lorcana.
it would be cool. It would be cool to
So
get
I
different
have good
treatments
news
of
and-
cards.
I've
Right,
good news
to
for
get-
that answer too.
Okay.
So as tricky as the Disney Lorcana Twitter page is, they specifically answered someone's question and said, yes, the cards will be sellable. There will be sold in Disney parks. And then, of course, everyone flocked and said, will there be annual pass holder exclusives? Will there be event exclusives? Will there be alternate art? So on and so forth. They gave a winky face. However, we do have the answer to that question as well, because in multiple interviews, Ryan has very specifically said they will never make an alternate art, a special form, or promotional card that you cannot get in the standard set.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole
So-
problem the HeroClix had, where like people were like, "Where'd you get the
Right.
HeroClix
But
from?" Oh, I
but-
won the tournament, so
so-
you're going to win every time.
So,
Yeah, that's how it
so,
works.
so you are saying that there is a chance that you can get AP discounts off the product because you never said anything about that.
What's
Oh,
AP?
this is
Well,
totally
they-
going to be.
What do you
People
say?
are totally going to get
didn't-
discounts on this product.
They didn't say. I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I do know, based on
If
what
you
they
work for the
have
park,
said,
you get a discount.
not on everything.
But
But-
not on everything, but there are ways. Like it's one of the things. Like
Oh,
it's just
the five-figure
there are
discount.
ways.
Okay.
Hey, no,
What
not
are y'all
that one,
talking about?
fool.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah,
never
I'm
mind.
not, oh, by the way, that price for that Mickey in PSA 10 sold for $3,250.
Wow.
So people
that's
out there still buying that card.
That's a lot of
So-
tacos at Taco Bell.
But yes, I think
With
the
that
product
comment
will be
about-
available everywhere.
What that comment said about like no alternatives being there, that they didn't say. I mean, that doesn't. So we know that they've done special stamps.
They've
right?
done Funko Pops. They've also done Funko's Pop like exclusives at like.
Well, I'm talking about Lorcana. Like just talk about the D23 cards. So we
Yeah,
know that
yeah.
like that. That bypasses his comments because they could always say, okay, park exclusive. And maybe it's just a different
It'll just be a different
stamp
variant.
saying
Yeah.
park
That's,
exclusive.
that's all it'll be. There'll be no
Yeah.
specific like text card that says like this card draws you 5 cards. Where'd you
Exactly.
get this?
That
Like,
would no.
that's never going to happen.
Yes,
That's
then
never gonna
that's
happen.
we should never fear about that. But I
Yes.
have no doubt that it's eventually, if the game goes long enough and it gets
Oh,
popular
there'll
enough,
be promos
that
everywhere,
they
mate.
will have
Yeah, absolutely.
different
There'll be
promos.
Gen Con
to be-
promos. Yeah, just
Right.
like Pokemon Magic, man. There'll be promos that'll be super valuable. Like this card is a common. It is, but
Yeah.
there was only this many made, and good luck getting one.
Right.
Yeah. So the good news is for people who are not collectors, you will never have to search chase cards from the theme parks.
And the bad
So,
news is if you
the
are
bad news is
collectors,
if you are a
just
You will have to do that.
you need
Probably.
to rethink some life
will.
decisions.
So as a player, I'm okay with this because they've clearly thought about the fact that people are going to want, for example, say there's like a full art, alternate art, foiled out Tinkerbell that you could get during, Mickey's Not So
Yeah.
Scary Halloween party in October, only at Walt Disney World for the first week. Well, okay, as a player, I'll be fine with my regular Tinkerbell from the booster pack.
I'll
But
take
for
my
a
common Tinkerbell.
collector, yeah, you're going to have to either scalp it or go to the parks or
Yeah.
find somebody to get it for you.
Yep.
So, like, I'm thankful that Ryan and the team are fully aware that there probably will be super hyper rare exclusive alternate art prints at theme parks. And for those of us who can't get there, we're not going to have to shell out tons of money for a card that we need to play with. But for collectors, yeah, it's going to be really interesting because now that Disney Lorcana specifically said the cards are at the theme parks, I'm willing to bet a lot of money in my t-shirt that there's going to be park exclusive alternate art promo, whatever.
Oh, 100%.
And oh boy,
100%.
you have fun
Mickey
with
gotta
that.
get paid. Mickey gotta get paid.
just to hand out, I'm sure there'll be ways to get starters there and like hand out this.
Oh,
get
dude,
people
there's gonna be
interested in the
everything.
game, right?
They'd be
That's the whole
foolish
point.
not to sell product at the
I
the
wish
place
they
where people
didn't,
bring money.
but
Why do you say
they
that?
have to.
Unpackage
Why
that.
do you say that? Why do you not want them to make money?
Unpackage that.
Are you not trying to support Mickey? He's so broke.
So imagine you love this game, and imagine you want everybody to play the game, because the more people play the game, the more money the game makes.
The more money you will make.
The bigger the game is, the more cars sell for, the longer the game will last.
Sure, but I'm not looking at the game from a business perspective. I want Lorcana to be as approachable and affordable as it could be, so anyone has a chance. And the thing I like about Pokemon is they have super awesome rare cards, but they're all in booster boxes, and you can get them either by buying booster boxes.
Not all of them. There's some Pokemon. There's some super rare Pokemon Center cards that came with like art magazines. I'm just saying they're out there.
They are out there, but they're few and far between. You know, Disney's going to have way more than Pokemon.
Oh God, they're going to print they're going to print a lot.
Yeah. So I know for a fact there's going to be a lot of people who want that specific printing of that card, and they're just not going to be able to get it because it's going to be hyper exclusive, hyper expensive. And I really wish that games as a whole were more accessible. That's why I love board games. Everybody gets the same thing when they buy a board game, whether they buy it now, next week, 6 weeks ago.
No, hold up with that.
For the most part.
I mean, like all these Kickstarter exclusives and all these, there are certain board games you can increase the quality of the components of the game, right?
Correct.
So like that is the same thing as what this CCG does. That you are just increasing the components of the game by having these foils or these special rarity cards. It's the same exact thing.
Just make it something like eye-catching.
Your question really becomes, I mean, I don't believe that any of that stuff makes the game any less accessible to anybody else. That makes it more or less accessible to collectors that want to collect everything. Right. And I don't think that a game should be concerned itself about collectors, generally. That's going to come. People are going to be interested in getting all the cards, or making, their Disney collection complete, or making their Mickey collection complete, or making their
you're trying to sing the song from Ariel. Look at this stuff. Isn't it?
All of it, that people are going to be interested no matter what.
Don't you think my collection is great?
Right. So I was just trying to rap. So I don't think that those things made the game less accessible. I don't even think that like the cost. I mean, like again, a game to Pokemon with kids, like very popular with kids, right? So that really the kids aren't paying for the game; it's their parents. So the question, if I'm a parent and my daughter wants to get into Pokemon, and then I go this, I like do some research and I look and I see, she needs X, Y, and Z to be able to make a basic deck to go play with her friends. She needs X, Y, Z to make a tournament deck to go to a tournament and play with people. That's how much that costs, right? So like, if those costs are generally going to be just what they are. Like it's not gonna change that much depending on the foils or the collections or all that kind of stuff, right? That's just those are all preset costs. You're going to be able to know what that is when you get into the game already. It's not going to be a surprise to anybody. So
you know what? You're right. I agree.
Here's a good example. Like Chris, like let's say you're going to the Disney theme park. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get in, and of course, you're going to buy that $10 butterbeer. It's going to happen. Like it's going to
wait a minute. Hold up. Time out now.
That is further up I-4, sir.
That is blasphemy. You are
when you take
terrible human.
When you took that trip to Universal Studios, you should already have a budget set for that, right?
You have hurt me deeply, Skev. Why would you say that?
It's not a surprise, is all I'm saying. I mean,
somebody pulled a knife out of my back. That hurts so bad.
You mean out of your Snickers bar?
You need a warm hug. You need a warm hug from
you. You can't say that.
So let me just pose the question.
That is a low blow, my friend. That is terrible.
Let's say the average deck cost of a tournament deck for this game was $50. I hope
right?
It's
I hope it's like $60, $70.
Let's say that was like that. I think that's pretty cheap. Let's say that was a tournament.
Pokemon's like $100.
Yeah, okay, let's go with
Pokemon. So let's say that. So in the end, given the pack cost, whatever else, we don't know the rules about deck building, but if a tournament worthy deck in this game is about $100, I would say we would all be happy with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the concern I hear from Sugi and Jason to a certain extent is that you guys think that price is going to be increased.
Yeah, I think decks are going to be 300.
Get out of here. There's no way.
No, I'm dead serious.
No, I 100% agree with them.
But what's that based on? That's just based on the only thing you could base it on at this point is the fact that the packs cost $6.
I won't lie. It's based on a lot of speculation and a lot
Mickey
of
Mouse.
guessing.
It's based on Mickey Mouse.
Common.
Well, it's based on playing a lot of card games and spending many thousands of dollars.
But if that's the case,
and seeing similar patterns from other card games where those games had similar prices with booster packs, similar set releases, and similar rarities, and those decks were about $300 to $400.
We don't know rarities yet. The only thing's changed. We know the rarities in boxes in the packs.
Well, we know that there's rares.
How many?
There's 5 commons.
Yeah, but we don't know that. We don't really know that translates to how many.
Oh no! Yeah, we don't know what the pull rate. Yeah, we don't know any of those things. I'm just saying, other games had the 5. They had common, uncommon, rare, super, ultra, and they had so on. So I'm just saying, based on a lot of experience, I'm guessing decks are $300 to $400.
If that is what it cost out the gate, but I guess we got to see how good. What if the starter decks are good?
Right.
Sure. I mean, a Magic deck is running into the 6 and 7. So
what if it's singleton? I mean, again, you guys were forgetting about that. But what if it's really you can only play one of each character in your deck? What if it's a singleton game? We don't even know.
That means the deck's going to cost way more expensive.
Well, what's the average for Fab right now?
You both just said the exact opposite thing, just for the record.
Exactly.
Chris, what's the average for Fab right now? Because Pokemon's about 150.
For a competitive Fab deck, it's probably I would say $350 to $400.
Yeah, that's about the same. What's DBS looking like, Jason? On average?
So are we going max rarity?
No. Just a competitive deck at lowest rarity. Average,
I mean,
give or take.
even at lowest, it's still probably $200 to $300.
Yeah, I was gonna say Yu-Gi-Oh is probably in the $300 to $400 range.
1,000.
Now here's a question for you.
No, not max rarity. Just average low rarity.
Fine. Average, it's still $400 or $500.
Okay, so for the people that don't play those,
got nerfed.
So I just want to
play these other games. I'm curious though. For other people that don't play those other games, when you have these big price costs, are these heavy price costs? I'm not familiar with the other games for singles. Are these heavy price costs? Are they associated with 10% of your deck, or is it just is it in your deck there are 4 to 8 cards that are $40 to $50, or is most of the deck all $20 cards? Where is that price breakdown?
So yeah, Chris, go ahead, because I have a different answer than you do.
Yeah, so Fab is different than I think most TCGs, where most of that cost is in 1 or 2 cards, which are the equipment cards, which are class specific, and they or generics that could go to any class, any hero in the game. But
so
90% of your deck
heavy, right? And then a lot of the actual cards of the deck are reasonable. You're not paying. Your actual cards of your deck are generally $100 or $150.
And I like that about Fab. You only need a couple cards that really hurt, and the rest of them are very, very well balanced.
And there are alternatives to those cards that really hurt, which is nice.
Yeah. Jason, why don't you tell us about the price breakdown of DBS?
Yeah, sure. So obviously it's going to depend on what you play, but let's say you're playing, just for argument's sake, the top meta deck, right? You're going to get hurt right off the rip with your SCR, which is 1 per deck, but even still, most top SCRs are $250
for just 1 card.
For just 1 card, and right out the gate.
Okay, so there's half the cost of the deck right there in 1 card.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you need, then you're going to have. If I just ignore SPRs, which are a fancier version of SRs, just going off your SRs, depending on how meta relevant they are, they can range from, I'll say 15 to 30, and you need typically 4. What gets DBS outside of the SCR and all that other crap is promos. I know Chris and I have talked about this before. Promos are very expensive in this game,
but are they needed for the deck, or are they just a variation?
Half the time, yes, you need them. You need them.
So wait, so they're a variation or they're a unique?
No,
on the promos.
They're part of the tournament kit,
They're
so
unique.
they're tournament.
So you can
members.
only get those cards. You can't pull them out of it. I'm
Right.
asking, like, are they?
No, right. You can only get them by going to locals.
And winning,
So
winning
the
those,
trick
right?
is
Winning
it's
the
the
tournaments.
it's the WizKids thing where HeroClix like
Yeah.
I got this
Yeah,
card.
it's WizKids.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the trick is they're
and,
not.
and then
Lorcana's not gonna do that.
and then typically you need 4 of
Yeah,
those set
Lorcana-
promo as well.
At least Lorcana's not doing
Yeah.
that because I can see where the cost can add up quickly.
Yeah.
because There's other cards like so. In essence, the value of those cards, there's outside things that are affecting the cost of the card.
Yes.
It's not like
Yes.
the pull rate
Yes,
of it, it's just the ability to get to something.
No. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So at least
Frustrating.
Lorcana's not doing that. So that's why I have a feeling that they're not
Well,
going to
so-
be as expensive.
Here's the rub though. So that's why I went last. Magic, you're asking about how the price is split across the board. So Magic is a game that has a mana system built into the deck. So we're going to assume that Lorcana may have inks built into the deck with the characters.
That's what I'm
So-
going to go with as well.
Magic is split across your mana base and everything else. So if you have lands that are non-basic that tap for different colors or have special abilities or let you draw or turn into creatures themselves or do something unique, then some of those lands, there's cards called shock lands where you can play it untapped, you take damage to your life points, but you can immediately tap that card for one color, and you have 2 options. So like you have one card that can tap for green or for blue or for red or for black. So you take a little bit of damage, but you have flexibility. Those cards used to go for $40-$50 each.
Right.
And you had
that
to
was
run
a very
4.
expensive part. 4. Yeah. So like that's where like some of the cards in your deck, most expensive cards, will end up being your mana. Like,
but then you also had expensive creatures. So sometimes those
This is
really
true.
expensive decks were a combination of
legendaries.
you need these really expensive cards that are lands to keep your mana base tight so you have efficiency. And then you need these really expensive removal spells because they're hyper efficient. So for 1 mana, I take 2 damage and take out one of your creatures with power 3 or less at instant speed. And then, you've got like Entomb, that was a crazy card back in the day. And then you've got these rares that are, like 1 drop, it's a 2/2 flyer. You run 4 of those. So Magic decks can be $400, $500, $600, and all of your cards can be, $10 minimum, and you need 4 of each. So some games are really front loaded on 1, 2, or 3 cards, and then the rest of your deck is pennies on the dollar. Some decks are a combination of cards you can pull from booster boxes and then cards you have to win at locals or, God forbid, at an actual like regional or national. Bandai, I'm looking at you. And then Magic is a combination of cards are just expensive because they're expensive, either in your mana base or in Lorcana's terms, your ink base. They can be expensive if there's like dual inks. And then some of your characters are going to be expensive because they're just really good, like Maleficent and Brave Little Tailor Mickey. So that's why I'm saying it's becoming harder and harder for me to see this game, if they run 3 to 4 copies of a card, being $100 game. Now, if it's less copies of a card, I could see it being less, but I'm just saying it's probably more than 100, I think.
I'll go back to the over topic again, but we talked about the common cost of our decks for tournament decks just a few minutes ago, and none of us got close to $100 for a tournament deck. So like, why is the expectation that
Pokemon can? I mean, I've played a competitive Pokemon deck that cost me it was like $40 for a competitive Pokemon deck.
Okay, so I think that's fair. I think Pokemon is a little bit different because of the age of it, right? And the fact, and kind of the deck building system there as well, right? So
Pokemon's weird because it can be really high or really low.
Yeah.
Pokemon's an outlier because depending on the meta, like when during Sword and Shield, your minimum deck was a bottom 350, like the lowest you could possibly go. But most decks were running in the $500 to $600.
Our Magic, Fab, and Dragon Ball Z, what we talked about, all the tournament decks there were about the same cost, about $250 to $400 for a tournament deck, right? So
you would take the meta, yeah.
So I mean, all that's dependent. So I think it's a little unreasonable to say that we hope that this game falls exactly in the Pokemon territory. It'd be nice if it did, because it is a family. Well, we hope that young people
My little TCG, right?
That's what I hope we want to. I mean, I get I get that, but I also think that if we're going to, if it's going to be something that can be a competitive game for adults, that it's also pretty fair to say that the tournament decks could be worth $200. We would expect to pay $250, $400 for a deck, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I just want to put that a little bit of perspective. If we start reaching into like you need to spend a minimum of $500, $600, $700 for a tournament deck, I agree with you. That's pricing people out. That's not the norm for a TCG in 2023. And the question is, if you're going to push that norm, if you're going to push that price up, what are you giving people more? Are you giving them better experiences? Are you giving them better gameplay? Or are you just making the hobby more expensive? That becomes a different question.
Yeah, and I agree completely with Chris. I also want to preface that this conversation we're having now is coming from a purely competitive standpoint.
Yes.
If you're playing with your family or your friends or your partner or loved one, who cares? Nobody cares. You buy whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. We're just kind of looking at this aspect of like, we're going to go to Gen Con, we're going to go to tournaments, we're going to go to events. So we as a collective group are planning on building tournament level decks. So the conversation about value and price and EV is relevant to us. But yeah, if you're just going to play with your family and friends, like ignore this conversation because it doesn't
play
really
as many wardrobes as you want.
Well, within the rules limits that we'll find out during spring.
No, if you're playing with your friends, just play 8 of them. It'll be fine.
8 wardrobes. Way to break the game. Wardrobe spam.
Also,
if that card is good somehow, we just don't know. I'm going to be really embarrassed.
I can't wait. That'll have to be our very first mock promo card. Would have to be the wardrobe, and just all of us just like looking sad and
getting stuffed into it. Yeah, Mickey Mouse stuffing us into the wardrobe. Help!
Right,
we were
this
wrong.
is what you get. You guys deserve this.
This 3-drop card is powerful.
But also, I think it's really cool that I feel that the product they released and the price point, and like I feel like getting a booster pack in 3 different starter decks feels like a good concept to use for like drafting. Like I feel like having like little mini like draft tournaments, because like you at least get a pack with your starter deck, and like the $30 one or like the $50. Like I don't know, that's another concept. But like I know like Magic does a lot of drafts, and like Pokemon you can do drafts. And like I thought it was a nice touch because to put a booster pack in there. I just remember like sometimes starter decks didn't used to have a booster pack. So I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I hope there's a way to do a 40 card draft. I think that'd be sick.
Right.
Yeah, limited
or cube.
Or sealed.
I see that's where I kind of want the whole set because I want to do cube draft.
Exactly.
I think
we want the whole set.
So legit.
People want to play cubes way too early in game life cycle, in my opinion, because they're coming from Magic, where like it's very common after a 25-year-old game to have cubes. Not every game you have a cube. I mean,
you should feel targeted.
I'm feeling another knife slowly inserting into my other
He was like, I can't say Sugi. I just got to say Magic.
It's just
you a Magic player.
It's just a hot take that like everybody's like, oh, I want a Fab Cube. Well, no, I mean the game's been out for 2 years. Like, don't.
That's
worry about
perfect. You got plenty of
yet.
cards to cube.
Oh,
Are you saying you hate cube drafting, Chris?
I just think it's people.
So you go back in your wardrobe.
Stuff it in the wardrobe.
People want like run cubes way too much. I don't know. I don't get it.
For people who don't know what we're talking about, a cube draft is you take a set amount of cards and you draft from that set. So traditionally, with the first set, you would only draft from that first set. As more cards come along, you add more cards and you pull more cards out. So usually, cube draft is like 500 to 800 cards maximum, and you're just kind of doing like the best of greatest hits. So I do agree with Chris. The first set is hard to cube draft because there's literally only one set. However, cube drafting is super fun. It's great.
He said in the wardrobe.
Yep.
Cube drafting is really fun, guys.
Why does this cube draft have 10 wardrobe cards in there?
Here's
Please
another
let me out of the wardrobe.
Right.
It's really
Here's
cold in
another
here.
hot take as well. Like people just expect, because of coming from a historical Magic or whatever, they expect a lot of different formats out the gate, right? Like it's just going to be just
targeted.
It's just the game, right? Like we don't know if there's going to be how many formats they're going to be. Like just go with the flow of the game and let it develop its way. Because people, you can't take our history of Magic and then say transfer. Oh, I want this game to come out hot with 5 different formats.
It's starting to look like, if you had to pick any of the games that we've ever played, which one would you say this one looks like the most?
Pokemon?
Kaijudo.
No, you giant. Wardrobes?
Oops. No,
what
not
are you
again.
saying?
Let me out.
What game do you think?
I think it's gonna it looks like Magic. It looks like Magic.
Okay, sure. More than it looks like Magic way more than Pokemon. 100%. I was talking about I thought you were about the art. Okay. The gameplay, Magic. Yes.
The cards, yeah. It just reminds me.
Well,
of Magic,
we don't know the pips yet. The pips are going to change a lot.
Here's what the pips are. The pips are the scoring system. Like that's why you have the tracker.
Right,
that's why they're the trackers. There's gonna be the bar like in Dragon Ball Z where you're like, oh, I scored this many pips. Here's added my victory total, and that's what the tracker's for. It's gonna be your victory condition.
So assuming you're tracking up to you're pipping up to something.
Yes.
Pimp hand. Cut
pip.
that out. Sorry. Don't say it.
Leave it in.
You're pipping up to something versus taking someone's life force down in Magic, right? So you're counting up to something. And whether that be exhausting the character to get those victory points in a round or whatever.
Yes.
So yes, I mean if that is true, then it's very similar to Magic.
Oh wait, what is this chat? Wait, what guys? What do you think of this? What happens if for every here's so like what if you defeat your opponent's character, then you just gain that many pips? Yeah.
Ooh.
What if it's just that simple?
That actually can make some sense.
Because the characters, we know the damage stays on them. That's why you have so many damage counters.
And we know that you could target characters.
Correct. So that's it. That could be it right there. Where like
I don't think we talked about
the win condition is that because the trick is you have to like so in essence it would keep the game state moving, right? Like I can't just mill to play the game. You actually have to attack and like
and it actually makes it like playing characters that have a lot of
pips. Let me out the wardrobe. Let me out.
Playing characters that have a lot of pips.
Never letting you out
could be dangerous, right? That actually is interesting. That like
right because did the magic mirror have pips on there?
Not that well. We don't know. They hid that part.
So like if the items don't have pips, and only characters have pips, then we know. We can assume like that's where my brain went to immediately when I saw the tracker. Like, okay, everyone gets token trackers, so you need the tracker to keep track of your victory count. Your victory count is going to come from something, so it's got to either come from the character you've erased, and you gain pips equal to the character you erased for that turn, and then whoever gets like 20 or 25 inks of erasing becomes the Illumineer.
I still think you score lore at locations.
I think locations will affect your card play. I think your locations will be like every card. I think that we would. I mean, maybe we might, but I think the location will be like, all right, all cards at this location have like -1, or like. I think they'll affect how the cards are like played, maybe. But I don't think maybe we're overthinking. Maybe you don't score off of locations. Maybe it is actually the inks and then the tracker. Because dude, doesn't the tracker? The symbol on that little gift box, isn't it have a symbol of an ink on there?
Yeah, or it's one of the pips.
Yeah, it's a pip symbol. So like, oh hey, that's how I win.
I won't lie. Did you guys ever play the FFG Star Wars card game, the living card game?
Yeah, I did.
Do you remember the Force battle where you could pitch cards with the Force bubbles?
Yeah.
I kind of was hoping they might do that where you could pitch cards from your hand.
That would be
and then
way
whoever
too complicated.
pitches the most. I know. Well, it's just math. It's just
easy
math.
But I can't read. So
I was about to say, Siggy, we already have a player base that can't read.
Right,
and you want them to add?
So you have to want me to like.
I'll see myself back into the wardrobe. I'll see myself back to the wardrobe. Oh my gosh!
But I want you guys to think about that. Really think about it. So the ink pip tracker is a symbol on the tracker. The tracker keeps track of something, and wouldn't keep track of like total inks acquired or obtained or lost. Like what if it's magic? What if it's magic? What if it's just magic? You have 20 total inks to play with. And then as you lose characters, your ink well gets depleted because you're running out of ink to make more characters. Actually, makes more sense. I said that
a while ago. That's what I said is the pips are the damage you deal. So if your opponent has no characters on the board
to draw,
you can swing directly and they take that much damage to their lore. And once you run out of lore, you have to go back to the Illuminary.
I don't think that happens. I think you actually have to get rid of a person's character, and that's how they lose the inks. I think it's like, so if my character has 2 inks and yours only has 1 ink and you get rid of my character, then I lose 2. You wouldn't deal 1. I would lose 2.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So therefore, you can't just have a turn where you just swing for 10 if I can't play somebody. So
doesn't that make like evasive Mickey really gnarly?
It does. It makes them really good. But there's ways around it with like Elsa and the witch lady.
Which lady?
Or not
which witch?
Cruella. She looked like a witch.
She's not a witch. First you say butterbeer.
She wants to skin puppies. She is a witch.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Get back in my closet. But that's where the concept went.
Get out of here.
But I think that's where my brain went to immediately. Once I saw that they classified it as a tracker, and it's the same symbol as the inks, where it comes. And also, like, wouldn't it be really upsetting too? Like, if I can't play a character this turn, and look, you have 5 of them, so I guess I just lose a quarter of my health.
Welcome to playing trading card games. That happens.
It does, but it's not as much fun.
Welcome to trading card games. That's just how that happens.
Welcome to Lorcana. No fun will be had.
That's just a part of games. Like sometimes you dead draw. Like, oh
this
no,
is true. This is true.
Can't play.
I'm just, guys. If you're listening at home, let me know what your comments or thoughts about that. I don't know. It's just something that I thought. I'm just like, that seems like it's so simple. Like, why would they overthink it? Like, that just seems so simple that it would work.
It's an interesting thought. I do agree. I'm really hopeful for the spring announcement to be sooner than later. We're recording on the week of the 18th of March, so we'll have to wait and see. We don't know. Spring is around the corner, so
March
that
20th.
is good news.
March 20th.
Yeah. Place your bets.
2 days.
That does put us at Monday. Monday's a good day for
I
announcements.
think they're gonna make the announcement in April. That's my bet.
It'll be April 1st.
Why do you hate me?
It'll be April 1st,
Yeah,
and they actually won't make an announcement.
I don't know if Jason can make it to April.
Jason
doesn't get
it'll
to me
be
in 2
April
days.
1st, and then it won't be an announcement.
I'm not the only one who needs a Snickers up in here. We need to send him another Snickers
Jason's
too.
about
Dude,
to.
Actually,
Jason
send Jason the
does seem-
Snickers. Send me
He
a
does seem the
Twix.
angriest of the 4 of us. He does seem the most angry of the 4 of us.
I'm the killiest of the 4 of us.
The milliest?
The milliest, yes. Yes, he is. Mill them.
When you run out of cards of deck, you just shuffle.
I
your
mean,
deck.
I am an aggro player,
So
so
that fits. That's actually very
There's a lot of aggro coming in. A lot of aggro heat for the designers of this game. I better watch out for Jason.
Jason's bringing the heat. Just starts pouring Tabasco sauce all over the cards.
This is how you win, right? I win.
Yeah,
Basco
it's
sauce
hot.
win.
It's hot.
We're playing unbridged Lorcana, right? Where I rip the card in half and then I definitely win.
No.
Oh,
We're playing
let's-
Street Lorcana. You got to wager your rarest card, Yu-Gi-Oh style.
I wager my blue eyes white Mickey.
You got an ante. Remember ante?
okay. Now you get in the wardrobe with Sugi.
All right, Doogie. Cuddle
No,
up, buddy.
only
We
one
got-
of us at a time. That is not how that works, my man. There's not enough space in this wardrobe, dude. I am out
Scoot
of here.
over. It's like
Freedom!
Narnia, right?
It's like the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside.
It's bigger on the
Lie
inside.
in the
if
witch
it's
in
a
the
TARDIS.
wardrobe.
Dude, there's a pool in the TARDIS. That was a cool episode.
TARDIS
too.
is TARDIS owned by Disney? Doctor Who? They're owned by Disney now?
Yeah, soon, next year, give or
Next
take.
year.
Careful what you wish for. That's a scary thought. They might do that.
That'd be weird.
But I mean, this has been a great conversation, and that's why I love this crew. We don't necessarily have the answers, but it's really fun to
We
just
have no
sit down
answers.
for a little bit. It's fun to speculate because like the game is going to sell. We know that for a fact. People are going to buy the game. We don't know how it works yet. We don't know what the EV of a booster pack is yet. We don't know all the cards in the set yet. But over time, we're going to find out what those things are. And it's going to be fun to look back at what we used to talk about and then what we are going to be talking about after Gen Con.
We're going to have to do a
I-
recap episode of how right and wrong we were.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Laugh at
That would
each
be
other.
super fun.
We're
Well,
gonna have
after
to do that.
after we give each other booster packs for our bets, because I'm still on Olaf, 2 pips, man. Two pips.
I'm still on everything's
But,
in one.
Did we write down all of our bets? Hopefully, a listener wrote down all of our bets. 'cause I don't
We've only
remember
had
I
2.
wasn't
One
paying
was
attention.
one was
I don't remember
Olaf, and then another one was the 4 of us betting on. I'll have to go back and look. I don't remember because it was me and I think it was me
Jason.
and Skeff versus Jason and Chris. It was something I don't
Yeah.
recall, but it was really funny.
I thought it was a deck. I thought it was the deck or the. price
Oh,
of
that's
the
right. It was
cards.
the inks are in the deck or inks
Yes.
are separate
Yes.
from the
Yes.
deck.
Yes.
So
Just
I
Sugi
thought
and I are
inks were
getting to be
separate.
Right.
I still think
Yeah.
they're. No,
I might be. I'm willing to bet that I'm wrong. It's looking like the the resources are in the deck
Yeah. Exactly.
combined.
I'm not
with-
ready to give that up yet. I think it's a separate deck.
I think you're.
I think it's a separate deck, but I'll admit if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
we're gonna find out. I
I'll
can't
eat
wait.
a packet of Domino's Parmesan grated cheese.
No, that wasn't the bet. The bet was we're giving them packs of Lorcana.
Not at
That's-
$6.
Yeah, I want my
That's-
$6 booster pack.
Hold up,
cheap
yo.
man.
Yeah.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? Also,
That's
hey,
$2.
I'll buy
Sugi,
you. I'll
how-
buy you a candy bar.
I will take one starter deck, please. Sugi, how excited are you going to be when they officially reveal a card that says discard one card off the top of your opponent's deck?
I'm going to send that in chat. And
we're going to have to do a video immediately? We're going to have to record immediately?
We're going to, I'm going to be like, everybody call your bosses, tell them you got to go record a nebulous hobby podcast about a card that mills one card off.
But
I hope it costs 6. I hope it's a 6 cost card.
Oh my!
And then costs 2 to discard the card off top.
No, is this going to be like an item? You have to pay 6, and then you have to pay 4, and then tap it.
Yes,
and then you have to discard a card.
This message.
Yeah. Oh my god!
It'll be the Sonic screwdriver.
Kicking me in the face.
No, but the other rule is that once you run out of cards in deck, you shuffle your discard into your deck.
That would be really weird. Games don't really do that.
I'm just saying that to mess with
leave Sugi alone. He's been through enough tonight.
There's so many scars. There's the butterbeer scar and the Mickey dollars and no milling and being stuffed in a wardrobe. Am I being bullied?
You're being punked.
Oh, I'm being punked.
No,
okay.
it's all love.
It's all
yes, this is true. This is how we love.
But love.
We love with
for those
physical and emotional abuse.
Yeah, this is how the life of a control player. It's okay. I
all right.
Understand.
He's used to it. He was molded in it. He was born in it.
I was
before we saw him mill. You were already a man.
Okay, we gotta wrap this up.
Man,
we're going.
We've intertwined quite a few Disney songs into this episode. I'm loving it.
That's more fun
all right, before we wrap it up, any last thoughts? I've really enjoyed this conversation because I think as we get closer to the release and we get more information, I really think Lorcana is going to be super fun. The more I see it, the more I'm interested. Whether it is or isn't is to be determined. But the more we talk, the more I just really fall in love with this fact that I've got 3 other guys I get to play with. There's a whole community out there we're going to be meeting at Gen Con. I'm really excited to see what a local community looks like. And it's just kind of cool to see a trading card game that we are interested in with an IP that we love mashed together. And I think that we're starting to see enough data that it's legitimately getting exciting. There's still a lot we don't know, but I'm really excited, especially like Tinkerbell having what Magic calls a looting effect. You don't gain a card, you just draw one and get rid of the worst card in your hand. It still allows you to filter through your deck and get better options. And it's indicative of design in a card game where they're clearly trying to give players tools to get the things that they need to play the game. Because we've seen a lot of games where there's no draw mechanic. You just draw at the end of your turn, or you draw at the start of your turn and you just get what you get. Or, draw mechanics are super hard to find. Looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like Pokemon, where there's good draw, but there's a lot of searching and tutoring.
Yeah, Pokemon's all tutor. So I guess that's one thing to ask the chat when we like to think about for the next show is like, will we see any tutoring cards? And that's going to be a fascinating dynamic.
Yes, we absolutely will.
Yes, we will.
Why do you think we will? Magic doesn't really have...
Why would we not?
Magic has tons of tutoring. Well,
but it doesn't. It doesn't have a ton. It doesn't. It's not how you win the game. Or like I feel like that's not a mechanic every deck plays.
There's not many standard.
Like draw is more important than tutoring in Magic. I feel most of the time.
Tutoring. Here. I want to comment. So the other day, there's a new minis game coming out called Shatterpoint, and the designer of that game did a great podcast.
Oh, the Star Wars game?
Yeah, Star Wars.
From the miniature game. I'm excited about that game. Yeah,
the mashup of Imperial Assault and Legion.
Right.
Yeah,
and
going on sale next week at Gen Con or
Well, no, it's not on sale. It's going to be demos.
Pre-order's not until July or June.
Yeah, it's
like release date June.
But we'll get the first demos. But anyways, he said something that I thought I wanted to bring up here, and I forgot about it till you just said that there. And he mentioned that the concept of a complexity budget, and he said that every game, when you design a game, has a complexity budget. And the more things we can sit down, we can think about all the cool things we want a card game to have or a mini game to have, all these cool concepts. Like in Star Wars Shatterpoint, they're going to have different stances, which go into combat. They're going to have the ability to jump up on different levels. They're going to have reflect blaster fire with their lightsabers. But at some point, that all those steps increase the complexity of the game, right? And you're going to lose different people at different levels of that budget. So you have to stop adding things at a certain point because you or you price people out. That's another reason. You price people out of the game with they can't give their attention to the game anymore because it's too complex, right? So I think
mental
that's
wallet is empty.
Right. So that's just some interesting concept when we talk about these kind of things. Like the game. There are so many great games over the years, right? Card games over the years, and so many great mechanics of those games. And there's a lot of things we want to see in this game to make it great for us, but it can't have everything because you just can't. You can't include all the cool things in the game because then if you have everything cool in the game, then it's going to be too complex to actually play. So we have
what do you have to look
syndrome.
forward to? Like, what are you gonna have forward to look to? Like, what's the next? Like, I bet they release like Mill and Set 2.
Why you gotta hurt me like that, man? Why?
I'm just adding to Chris's conversation for like this complexity of the game.
It just struck me that like it sounds like, again, until we can say all these things we love about our individual games, but this game can't have all those things, and it shouldn't have all those things, right? Because if it had all those things, we wouldn't be able to play with people. Like that's kind of it's a little bit of FAB's problem. FAB is a really complex game, a lot of different systems going on, a lot of at one time in each match, right? A lot of things to keep track of. So the more complex the game is, the less appealing it is to the masses, I guess. So
I do love that title. Complexity budget is a great way to explain it.
Yeah, valid. I like it. It'll be interesting to see was to get any tutor cards or mill cards. Those are the only two cards that I'm curious to see what we get coming up.
If I had to bet, we'd probably see tutor before mill. I want mill, but it's not player friendly, and I can absolutely see it not being a thing.
Mm-hmm. I got to search for more Three Little Pigs.
Oh yeah, when you add in tutoring to LCG, it makes the game much more complicated. Is why I brought that up. Just because
Pokemon's main thing for the longest time was always tutoring. That like the supporter engine was always
the Pokeballs.
Was that a little different because aren't the decks a little bit smaller or no?
No, 60 card decks in Pokemon. Yeah, okay. So Pokemon's most of its engine for the complexity of the competitive years that it's played has always been like, what trainer supporter engine are you running to acquire your
combos
cards?
Off?
Very rarely was it. For a couple of years, it was all about like drawing as many cards as you like, draw 4 cards this turn. But most of the time, it's always been the tutor engine of like, hey, I'm going to search for this Pokemon, get this set up, things like that. So
sure.
It'll be interesting.
The best thing about Pokemon I have loved over the years is that game is so well designed for putting in like tech cards against certain matchups.
Oh, 100%. I played so many one-ups. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So many one-ups.
Yeah, I love Pokemon because you generally can put maybe 10 to 20% of your deck as one-of tech cards because there's so much tutoring, so much searching, so much drawing. Right. It is really uncommon not to see almost all the cards in your deck. Now, you might not see the card you want at the time you want, but that's another story. But like Pokemon is just so well designed for, if I'm a water deck and I see a lightning deck, they're going to do all this extra damage to me. So I'm going to put this trainer in that says my Pokemon ignore their weakness. And
or you put like one fighting type, you know what I mean? Or like,
you put in like one fighting type just to mess with them. Yeah. And so I kind of wish Lorcana would give us that opportunity. Now, unfortunately, you only get 2 colors, so you're not going to have the ability to do whatever you want. But I did love Pokemon giving you the flexibility to say, hey, if you have a bad matchup, put in this one card to help you, and then if you're able to find it, great. If not, you have to fight an uphill battle.
Well, I mean, you can't make rainbow deck. No rainbow deck.
That's true. No rainbow decks.
So it's
Flesh and Blood, there's a lot of cards that I would consider answers to certain problems in the game, but the problem, it's not necessarily a problem, but there are very limited tutors in Flesh and Blood. So kind of to your point, putting those cards in the deck doesn't really help as much because you may not see that to counteract the issue you're facing, right? So that's why.
Right. Well, I'm saying in Pokemon.
You're
asking about tutors.
No, I was just commenting about the other side of that, where you can print answers, but if you don't have that ability to search, then the answers don't really matter as much, right?
Yeah. So that's why Pokemon and tutoring works, is because you have so much drawn tutor power that you can search out those answers. Whereas most games, you can put in those one-of silver bullets, but you don't have the draw and tutor power. So
to see it,
you generally don't see the card, which means it's not very useful.
Which means you're not going to put it in your deck probably because then it's just taking space to like.
To it comes down to consistency with this, where like I need to play 4 of this card to increase my odds of hitting it.
Right.
So if I had to pick, I would love massive draw, massive tutoring, because the biggest thing about Pokemon that draws me into that game is your deck building is critically important compared to every other game. If you misbuild, you're just at a massive disadvantage. In other card games, if you make a misplay and you have like the wrong ratio, you can still win. You might not see the cards as frequently, but it's not as bad as Pokemon, where if you just don't put certain cards in, sometimes that's a loss versus certain matchups. But because there's so much flexibility to get the cards you want, sometimes at the time you want it, then that's not as big of a thing. So like, I would love to have the ability to express myself in Lorcana and then have the tutors to pull those cards out when I want them, so that we could have these really dynamic matchups. Whether that happens or not, I don't think it will. But I think
bet we'll have more draw cards than we do have more tutor cards.
Yeah, probably. I agree. But this has been a great episode. It's been a nice, long, chunky one. I really enjoyed it. Everyone's had really great stuff to bring to the table, and I really appreciate it. So, man, a few more months, and we're going to be at Gen Con. It's going to be great. I'm so excited.
5 months, exactly.
I got my
5
tickets.
months.
I'm driving up,
5
baby.
months exactly.
Yeah, I'm getting a car. I'm bringing up the computer. We're going to have a party. We're going to record. 5 months is going to blow by.
Terrifying.
I mean, it's cool. Last time we talked about this was in like October of last year. So, I mean, it's just been boom. Super exciting. Well, this is
5
great.
months later.
So,
yeah.
I know. So thank you, everybody, for listening and participating with our team. It's been a blast. If you're enjoying this, definitely check us out on Twitter and Facebook at LorcanaCast. We will see everybody next time. From the team here to everyone listening, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. And as always, remember, Ohana means family, which means nobody gets left behind and nobody gets forgotten.
The squeaky wheels always get